If you want a motorcycle rider to get emotional, just tell them a scooter's a better choice. But for some people, like myself, scooters are the better choice. Motorcycles really are amazing machines, but when it comes to two wheels, I choose a scooter. Scooters like Vespas offer you something a little different. Freedom without intimidation, adventure without excessive speeds, practicality sometimes motorcycles fail to match. After riding my electric bike for years and taking various trips throughout the years where my wife and I go cruise exotic places, we really like to get on two wheels and explore the hidden gems of the cities, the hidden gems of the jungle, the hidden gems of the beaches, you name it. And most often we choose a scooter. Why a scooter? Well, there's a lot of reasons we choose a scooter, but I would have to say, let's start with practicality. They're made for stopping and going. They have smaller wheelbases, which means that they're easier to maneuver. And because of the smaller wheelbases, they often have smaller engines, and with those smaller engines come a lighter frame. So unlike riding in a car, you actually feel the breeze in your face, you actually feel the road, you actually smell things, you hear things. Things come at you at a faster speed. But unlike a motorcycle, you have time, and time is all important. Time is what matters when it comes to safety. Time is what matters when it comes to lingering on a sight that you're looking at that normally you don't see from this angle. And also, you just feel more at ease with the ride because you don't have those excessive speeds. You don't have the ability, number one, to get to those excessive speeds. And number two, it's just a different ride. So kind of like electric bikes, the question always comes up, why a two-wheel vehicle versus a four-wheel vehicle? I always say it's part of the adventure. It's like the difference between riding a horse and riding a ATV. So a two-wheel vehicle is sometimes compared to a horse. They call them a metal steed. And it's because you're exposed to all the elements. You're exposed to the machine that's between your legs, and it's a different feel than when you're encapsulated in a car. So I've always been drawn to that. I've always enjoyed that, and I've always felt unsafe, and that's part of the adventure, is that the unsafeness, that you're not fully in control. You're more reacting to everything. You're reacting to the feel of the road. You're reacting to smells. You're reacting to sounds. You're reacting to little things that make you feel uncomfortable. In a car, I feel a lot more on autopilot. I'm not tuned in, I'm more tuned out. When I ride a two-wheel vehicle, I'm very tuned in. And it's mostly because I want to feel safe. So my brain is fight or flight, always going between the two. So for me, a scooter, because of the lack of excessive speeds, makes me feel safe in the sense that I'm not going to be able to get to a certain speed. So I'm going to have a lot more time to make decisions when it comes to unsafe situations I see coming before me. And I get there to the unsafe situation a lot slower than if I'm on a motorcycle. For others, people that crave the adrenaline, riding a motorcycle is the way to go because they crave that speed. They're not unsure. They're more like, I like zooming in and zooming out of the situation. And they like the fact that they have a very, very small window to make a decision. That's part of the adrenaline rush. A two-wheel vehicle just isn't transportation. It's an adventure. What's that sound? Time for a no man.
Vespa versus a motorcycle. there are many reasons why a Vespa is the right choice for you. Let's get cracking. A motorcycle has a clutch and gears to shift. The learning curve is much steeper than on a scooter. A motorcycle has larger motors, 440cc to 1900cc, and often go much faster than scooters. One study found that fatal and severe injury crashes involving motorcycles occurred at about 3 times more than with scooters. A Vespa is an automatic scooter and doesn't require any shifting, thus it is much easier to operate than a motorcycle. A Vespa has smaller motors, 50cc to 440cc, thus making them less expensive, easier to maintain, and they get better fuel efficiency. Vespas are more comfortable, more maneuverable, and have more storage, which make them a better choice for short adventures. Scooters are still two-wheeled vehicles that can go as fast as 110 miles per hour. To use this for your adventures, you must possess 2 attributes: a safety culture that includes no cutting corners and a positive driving attitude. This is considered by some to be the steel horse. Not only can you better feel the road, but you are a bigger puzzle piece to the environment around you. This moment brought to you by Rambo, the best in personal mobile protection.
Why a scooter instead of a motorcycle? Well, motorcycles definitely have more options as far as they're niche machines. You can find a motorcycle for anything you want to do, whether it be a touring motorcycle, which is, for long drives, very smooth rides, very capable suspension, better suspension than you'll find on any upgraded, even Vespa scooter. But scooters in general. They also have an excessive amount of speed, so there's never a ceiling to how fast you can go. It's really the comfort level of the speed you want to get to. These are all things you're going to find in a motorcycle that people really enjoy about the sport. So all enthusiasts of motorcycles, they don't look at scooters as something enjoyable. Now, when they get on a Vespa, or they get on something that has 350 cc's, then they start going, oh, this thing has some get up. Oh, I could see myself on this when I'm older. So after hours and hours and hours and years and years and years of riding a motorcycle, people start to enjoy a scooter and what it has to offer. So the hardcore enthusiasts that really crave speed, after a while, they also want something that's a little bit more mind-numbing, something that they don't have to think so much about. And then they hop on a scooter like a Piaggio 350. Then they see that it has some giddy up, it has some speeds. It can go anywhere from 70 to 85 miles per hour at top speeds. That gives them a little sense of, oh, I can do this. And then they wind up getting hooked. And then there's people like me who get hooked on a scooter and are still a little bit more intimidated for a motorcycle. Again, it's that top speed thing, but it also is the bulk. It's also the way you ride. So on a scooter, it's a pass-through. So you have all this extra room. You can move your legs around, you can move your knees around, you can readjust your feet. You're sitting up in a more straight up position versus on a motorcycle, your knees squeeze in right where the gas tank is and right where the engine is. So you're always feeling heat and you're kind of in a more forward position unless you're in a chopper. Again, that just speaks to all the different niche motorcycles there are compared to a scooter. Scooters are a lot lighter. The motor is in the rear of the machine versus being up front. So this leads to a lot of different storage options. There's storage under the seat. Mine has a box on the top, which has a backrest on it. So there's storage there. Mine even has a glove compartment. You're not gonna find that on a motorcycle. Those are all extras that you have to add in versus on a scooter. You get that with the price of admission. One of the main reasons I like a scooter is because I use my feet to just chill. A motorcyclist, they use their feet to shift gears. Scooters, they operate on a CVT, which is basically an automatic transmission. It's continuously running. So you're not shifting down or shifting up. You're not learning how to take the curves and leaning into the curves at the same time learning how to shift. Way different experience. And then you can focus really on just the ride and enjoyment of what you're doing. And it's just a lot easier and a lot more fun. And that for me is what sealed the deal between the two. So it's not as technical and you don't need as much experience with the technical aspects to really get yourself out of a jam. The other thing about scooters is they're usually lower to the ground, and because the engine's back here, they're a lot more easy to maneuver when you're sitting on one, when you're straddling it. So on a bike, when you straddle it, it's usually a little higher off the ground. The wheels are a little taller, and on a scooter, the wheels are a little shorter. It's usually a shorter distance between here to here. All these things help maneuver it better when you're walking it. The other thing about scooters and motorcycles in general is called counter steering. How does counter steering work? You can look out there, there's videos that are just committed to counter steering. Probably about 15 hours worth of riding before I really understood counter steering. And what it means is actually counterintuitive. If you want to turn right, you're going to push right, which turns your steering wheel to the left, but it makes you lean right. And then the steering wheel naturally turns to the right. So when you turn, unless you're going low speeds, it's all about you leaning into the turn. And that's what makes you direct the bike. It's not the actual turning. But you still need to turn the wheel to be able to lean. You can't just ride and then lean and turn. You have to ride, push, it naturally wants to lean this way, and then the wheel turns that way naturally, and then you turn into the lean. So that's the whole idea of counter steering. This is a Vespa, by the way. Vespas are made by Piaggios. So I have a Piaggio. Piaggios are a little bit more streamlined looking, a little less sporty looking, doesn't necessarily have the classic Italian curves and sexiness that you'll find on a Vespa, but they're just as fun, and everything that's in here is all Vespa because Vespa is made by Piaggio. How do I go about even trying a two-wheel vehicle? Well, you're gonna have to get more than likely, at the very least, a permit, which in California means you have to go take a test. You got to pay your X amount, I think it was $45, take the test, you get a permit, it's good for a year. Then you can go to most dealerships, show them your permit, and go ahead and start riding. You can also take a motorcycle class, which I would encourage you to do no matter whether you ride a motorcycle or you ride a scooter. And you take the permit test again, you do the motorcycle class, and that's your driving portion, and then you automatically get an M on your license, so you have your motorcycle license. Very intense, but for me, a scooter rider, again, I like the automatic. I like it all in the throttle. I don't like to have to shift. I don't need that kind of speed that a motorcycle offers, so I don't need to take one of those classes. They do have scooter classes out there that will provide you a scooter, and they'll provide you a scooter for the test, and then you go actually take a test at DMV, and then you get the M on your license. M on your license means you have a motorcycle license, and then you can go out and again test drive. Permits are usually good enough for test driving, and if you're out and about and you're abroad, like Mexico, like Italy, like a majority of different countries out there that you would want to find yourself on a two-wheeled vehicle, there's going to be somewhere that will rent you one without having an actual motorcycle license, and that's a good chance to just try it out and get comfortable. These are things that you're not going to experience until you start riding. So when you're doing the practice out there and you take that time to find the right bike, and you're looking at the engine size, and you're looking at how fast it will go, the gas mileage, you're looking at the color, you're looking at all the different price structures there are. Piaggio being one of the higher price structures out there for a scooter, probably the highest. You're looking at the parts that are available, because you're going to have to work on this thing. And are you going to have to wait 6 months for a little stupid bolt that you need? Or is it already available? As you're going through all these things, nobody tells you about countersteering. Nobody tells you about the comfort level. Nobody tells you about how hard it's going to be to hear things with your helmet on. Nobody tells you that the suspension and smaller wheels don't do well on potholes. So when you do get something like I have that goes up to 70, 85 miles per hour, it has a little bit bigger wheelbase, but still, you hit a pothole, there's a good chance you're going down. So you have to really be focused on that road and looking and knowing what's ahead of you. I only know about that stuff from riding it. So there's only certain things you can find out with riding it. And those are things that will make or break whether you get a two-wheel vehicle or not. So for me, the Vespa sits in the perfect place. It's more powerful than an e-bike. It lets me get on the freeway, lets me get on the interstate, so I can get to those grand adventures where I could go 40 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour and really just enjoy myself and enjoy the ride. And then it lets me get back on the interstate and get back home. So it's the perfect two-wheel vehicle for me. And I think it will be the perfect two-wheel vehicle for you. So go ahead and give it a try and see why scooters are for everybody. Be safe, prepare for the slide, and have a safe ride. This is Justin from No Mission Adventure. Out.